Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left base, you're following a Cessna down low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final. You're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold. Take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final. Runway 9 clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you to offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see what we got. A tricycle, put it down. Tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you clear to land on 9 all the way to the white dot. Go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway, and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern, or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. You do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you're clear to land runway 9 on the white dot. There you go. And the tricycle left on the hard surface and follow the flagman. Welcome. Thanks for being part of the show. And let's see, just find somebody to follow on the final. And as you get close to the runway, if it's not going to work, we're going to send you around and then try to resequence you. Now, who else got sent around that's not back on the downwind? The Canard?
Yeah, Canard.
All right, Canard, there's a Gulfstream up there that went around too. I just lost sight of him, but you're going to make kind of a left-hand turn and stay low. I think Charlie Sierra, what's your altitude?
3,200.
Okay, that'll be fine. Just maintain VFR. I don't know what else is up there above you. Probably most everybody's down here, so just make a left-hand turn. We'll try to get you back here.
Canard's got the jet in sight.
Okay, the RV, maybe an RV-10, whatever, you're on final. Keep your speed up and go all the way down to the, aim for the green dot for me. Actually, keep your speed up. There's a guy behind you. Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there. Go ahead and put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you all? Hello, everybody. Thank you very, very much for joining us tonight on what is probably one of the second best day of the week. Yesterday was great. I think from here it's all downhill, but we'll come to that in a minute. Before we go any further, I would like to thank 4Flight for sponsoring the live stream. It wouldn't be possible without them. And 4Flight wanted me to tell you about Sentry, their twin-channel ADS-B receiver with built-in carbon monoxide and AHARS that works with 4Flight. And you can find out more about it by going to www.flywithsentry.com/flyer. So there you go. Got it in at the beginning. Right. So first up, the first change for this evening is Simon Keeling is unfortunately not joining us tonight. And there's also been a minor snag of the logistical kind with his latest forecast. So we have his weekend forecast, which is the Flyer Club members forecast. And we're going to play that for you right now, and pay attention because this weekend's looking a little bit tricky and complicated. And if anyone would like to predict the cloud base for me on Sunday, maybe early afternoon around devices in Wiltshire, and put that in the comments, that would be great. Let's go.
Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here with your flying weather outlook for the weekend and week ahead, brought to you exclusively by Fly Magazine in association with weatherschool.co.uk. Now, treat this forecast very, very cautiously, won't you? We've got lots of changes taking place. Don't trust your phone apps because they're going to be jumping around all over the place because the models are really struggling to get to grips with this forecast. As usual, I'll have more for you in the live Fly Team broadcast at 7:30 Thursday evening. But at the moment, I'm going with mixed conditions overall through the weekend and next week. Rain in the south of the UK, mostly fair across northern areas where I think we've got the highest chance of some high pressure building in, and then probably some low cloud on eastern coasts of the country. Lots of changes though in very short distances across the country during this weekend. Again, I'll put another update out in the weekend forecast email that goes out for free on Thursdays or Fridays. If you're not getting that yet, you can be added to that list. Just send a blank email to aviationweather-subscribe@weatherweb.net. You don't get any rubbish, you don't get any spam. This is just so I can get an update of the forecast out to you on a Thursday or Friday by email, just in a plain text format. I use it as well just to announce new weather school dates, but it stays here, doesn't go anywhere else at all, so you can be confident your email address is safe with us. So just send a blank email to that address, and then we'll add you onto the list to receive that forecast. Now, it's a real tricky one, and we're in the middle of Aviation Weather School Part 2 at the moment. Lots to talk about this weekend. If you'd like to learn more about the weather and you've not been to Aviation Weather School yet, and you want to be able to plan your flying up to 5 days in advance, enhance your confidence in weather and using forecasts to be able to decide whether you can go on a trip or not, get yourself along to Aviation Weather School Part 1. I've got 3 places left on my course on the Sunday mornings of the 18th and 25th of July between 09:30 and 12:30 hours. It would be great to see you there. For more information on that, go to weatherschool.co.uk. That's what you'll see. Come down to Aviation. Aviation Weather School is there. And this course is taught entirely by me live online. It's always great fun as well. We have a good group of pilots on there and lots of interaction on there. And also you get to watch Weather School back for up to a week after each session. So if you've missed anything, you can go back and look again. So that's Aviation Weather School Part 1, which will be on the Sunday mornings of the 18th and the 25th of July. Book your place now at weatherschool.co.uk. And the reason we do it in the mornings is that then you can do Weather School in the mornings, then go flying in the afternoon. Pretty good, eh? Okay, this is how things shape up through Thursday. Low pressure off towards the north. It's bringing with it plenty of moist air and bringing a risk of some drizzle, some outbreaks of rain to western Scotland and to Western Ireland. Pretty low cloud here, non-VFR. Bits of non-VFR down western coast and hills as well with some low cloud, but generally across more southern and eastern areas we're generally VFR through this afternoon, although I've seen better weather. Now for Friday, bit of a mess across southern parts of the country on Friday. We've got outbreaks of showery rain coming through across the south. I think this looks like it goes into a marginal to non-VFR sort of day. Bases around 2,000 to 4,000 feet, tops about 15,000 feet. just need to watch that line of showers. Across northern and western Scotland, Northern Ireland, here we're going to see some low cloud as well. I think some bits of drizzle, generally non-verifiable here. Could be some low cloud drifting onto the east coast of northeastern Scotland and northeast England, non-verifiable here, but probably central Scotland may come good, parts of northwest England, parts of Wales, parts of the Midlands, parts of Southern Ireland. Here we could find bases around 4,000 feet and the tops about 10,000 feet. And then on to Saturday. Showers across central and southern areas of the country through Saturday. These developing during the course of the morning. And I think lasting into the afternoon. Local flying looks okay for Saturday, but I'm a bit concerned about the afternoon. I'm going to go with marginal to VFR conditions. I think 1 to 3,000 foot bases, tops 10 to 15,000 feet. Further north looks okay, generally flyable, but again, these eastern coasts of Scotland, probably non-VFRable because of low cloud. Now, once we're getting into Sunday, looks like some rain across the far south of the country. I'm, again, uncertain about this, but non-VFR through here could be some embedded QNIM in there. 2 to 4,000 foot bases, 20 to 25,000 foot tops. Further north and west, I think generally VFRable, 3,000 foot bases, 12,000 foot tops. But again, watch for some low cloud and non-VFR conditions along those eastern coasts. A real messy picture for Sunday. And then Monday, at the moment, looks to be some thundery showers across central parts and across Wales and through southwest England, making for non-VFR here, but probably becoming VFR from the south later. Some QNIMs embedded in that rain. Few showers across central and southern parts of Scotland later, making for marginal weather here. Generally, I think Scotland, Northern England, Ireland, probably flyable. And then for Tuesday, a better sort of day. Maybe some low cloud across the south at first, but that should clear away. Then most areas probably getting into VFRable conditions, but it's very, very messy again. Critically dependent on the wind direction. If we get a northeasterly, these eastern coasts may see some low cloud, could go into non-VFR conditions, but lots of uncertainty over that at the moment. And then for Wednesday, looks like high pressure is in control, but you can see here these little lows that develop across northern England and across Scotland may produce an odd shower, but generally it's looking like we should find flyable conditions, although again watching for low cloud affecting eastern coast of England. So lots to watch out for in the coming days, lots of uncertainty as we go into next week, and something that we need to be monitoring very carefully on the charts. Now, if you'd like to be able to know how to read the charts properly, understand fronts properly, be able to make your own forecasts, then get yourself along to Aviation Weather School Part 1. It's for all experiences of pilots from pre-PPL all the way through to commercial pilots. It takes you beyond the PPL syllabus, which, let's face it, is a tick box exercise. It teaches you really what you need to know about whether to fly safely and to understand what's going on. I say this quite often, I guarantee that you'll get your money back from doing the course within a few weeks, because it'll save you time flying, it'll save you time on wasted petrol, and more importantly, it'll earn the brownie points. So go and have a look at weatherschool.co.uk now for more information on that. Okay, I will leave you that for now, whatever you're doing. Thanks again for watching, keep the sun shining, and bye for now.
Thank you very much, Simon.
Yeah. It's comprehensive. Yeah, it's worth reminding people that that's the big full package of Simon's weather that you get if you're part of the Flyer Club. So one of the benefits of signing up.
Yep, twice a week.
Yeah, it would be a better benefit if you'd have come up with better weather, wouldn't it, really, frankly? That was
yeah, I don't think you pay money to get guaranteed good weather.
That's a typical English summer's week.
Yeah. Yes, I need to make a decision tomorrow morning about going somewhere, and I need to get back on Sunday. So that's the kind of I probably should have paid more attention when I went to weather school, shouldn't I? Really?
Don't come back on Monday. That looks even worse.
Yes.
No, I need to be back on Sunday. So that's the question. It's tricky, isn't it? All this weather stuff. I don't know.
It certainly is.
Anyway, so if anyone out there is a great weather forecaster and they're watching this, if they could put in the comments what the weather's going to be like on Sunday mid-afternoon around Wiltshire, please, somewhere near Devizes, that would be perfect. Thank you very much. Interested in any storm activity and the cloud base, that would be great. Thank you very much. Right, I think it's probably time to move on to the news.
It is.
And I think Ed is leading us off with the news today.
I have the first news story. So you've probably heard us talk about the fact that as part of the LAA 75th anniversary celebrations, they've been planning an LAA tour that's going all over the country. This was due to start from Henstridge on the 5th of July, and it was due to follow the Wessex strut fly-in that was taking place on the 4th of July. However, due to restrictions in place at Henstridge, preventing aircraft from a number of locations, including Greater Manchester, Lancashire, Bedfordshire and Leicester, which are prohibited from flying into Henstridge, the LAA tour isn't starting from there. So it will begin from Bodmin, which is the first meet point and overnight stop. And aircraft on their way to Bodmin are invited to call in to Dunk as well. And then it's Tuesday the 6th. It's heading to Barton via Kemble and Shobden. And then Wednesday the 7th up to Eshot, to Brayton, and then on the 8th to Leicester. So sounds fantastic, but not starting from Henstridge.
When they go to Bath, they're going to land in Bath or just fly over it, do you know?
Bath?
Didn't you say Bath?
I said Barton, I think.
Barton, Bath. God, got navigation problems there. Before we get on to the second story, I'm just going to give you some breaking news. Breaking news that I just saw on my little watch here. And that is the green list has been updated. If you're wondering about your summer holidays this year, your green list, your extended green list now includes the Balearic Islands, Malta, Madeira, some of the Caribbean, including Barbados. So they're now on the green list, apparently. I don't know any of the details or when from or anything else. So next week will be...
Yeah,
Sorry?
I'm guessing, are those places that members of Parliament needed to go on holiday?
You cynic, Ed. You are far too young to be that cynical.
You've got all this on your wristwatch.
Yeah, on my Garmin D2 Air, it's got notifications from my phone. It just comes through, and it's like,
all right,
Ian, you can go on holiday to more. You can live stream from the Caribbean next week, or maybe it's not next week. I don't know when it starts from, but that's when it is. Anyway,
who's next?
Thought I'd bring me.
Yeah.
I'm next. This is an item about favourite airfields. So let's just bring up this. Where's my little cursor gone? There it is. I guess there's this bit of a screenshot from SkyDemon. It's a new feature that SkyDemon have introduced. If you go to the information page on an airport and then you look down the bottom right hand, you'll see this one's actually Sandown, obviously, Isle of Wight Sandown, ranked #1 based on most unique visitors. So SkyDemon has started publishing. Whoops, that's a different news story. I'll turn that one. Whoa! It's all going horribly wrong. Yeah, SkyDemon is basically measuring airfields by the number of unique visitors that have visited over the last 2 years. So if you visit 100 times, it's still 1 point. So unique visitors rather than repeat visitors, which kind of takes out the stuff about clubs. So the top 10 list, if you're interested, Isle of Wight Sandown, #1, no big surprises there. Down there doing a great job. Tel Weston, #2, again, no great surprises there. Fantastic tower building, fantastic cafe, fantastic place. #3, Northampton Sywell. I'm kind of going to guess that's had a little slew of people coming in through the LAA rally but who knows, maybe not. Gloucestershire #4, Gloucestershire Staverton Spaceport International. Kemble #5. That was probably all those BA pilots and the Norwegian pilots and everyone else taking the 737s and the A320s and the 747s in there, wasn't it, that did that? That's another unique visitor.
You did SkyDemon.
Leon Salient #7, great place. Compton Abbas #8, great place. Shobden #9, and Bembridge is in at #10. So that's the top 10. A kind of very southern bias list. Now I don't know if that's because there's a lot more GA pilots in the south than the north. I don't know. What's the furthest north we got there? Northampton, Shobden or Northampton? Which one's furthest north of those two? Sure, it's a tricky one.
Probably Sywell.
Someone in the comments who knows what they're doing with a map, let us know.
Maybe Northerners use more charts than Sky Demon. I don't know. That might be a made-up statistic.
Oh, yes. Allegedly, we don't really wish to upset our Northern viewers. Thank you very much.
No.
They're equally modern. Yeah, so who knows? Anyway, an interesting list, and we got a great feature in the next issue about that. So while we're on favourite airfields, let's just have a quick go round. Let's start with Dave. Dave, what's your favourite airfield?
Well, this is a very difficult question, and Tel Weston's high up on my list because I had an aircraft base there, Luscombe. I had a Luscombe base there for a while, but then I moved south to Shoreham, and so I'd have to say Shoreham because I've spent a lot of time there. I had an office there for a while, and I did. Yeah, I had an office in Shoreham in the building next to Piper when they were there. And anyway, so I love Shoreham. It's a great little airport. The weather, it has its own weather system, which is nearly always bright and cheerful. And well, it has been many of the time I've been there anyway. So Shoreham is my favourite. It's got a great cafe, nice atmosphere, nice people, nice building, easy to use.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Ed, how about you?
It's a little one for me, but a lovely one, Oaksey Park. Mostly because it's my regular fuel stop, but it's a beautiful runway and it's always a joy to land there. I don't think I've ever seen a better kept runway.
I was going to say I don't think I've ever seen it anything other than perfectly mown at Oaksey. It's like 1,000 meters of grass, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's wide.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, indeed.
That helps with my landings.
I went in there the other day. It was to get some fuel, and it was one of those hot days. Remember those? Remember summer? Summer of 2021. And I filled up all the tanks. I was on my own, so I wasn't sort of super heavy, but it was heavier than normal. I didn't take anything like all of 1,000 meters, but it's just nice and comforting, isn't it? Having that 1,000 meters in front of you, I have to say. Yeah. Johnny?
Yeah, I was going to go with the same thing. Oaksey, it's got that great bit of grass. It's there's lots of really great farm strips, but you often fly in there and there's nothing going on. Whereas at Oaksey, there's always a hangar door open and the classic airplane company tweaking away at something, or there's a big flying on. And the owners, Mike and Andrew, are great. They're really friendly, hospitable people, and it's a bit like Ed. In the summertime, that's my fuel stop. But no, it's a good, friendly, beautiful. If you could kind of copy and paste that around the country,
yes, perfect.
In a few different locations with a few different views, maybe on a hill somewhere.
Fussy.
That's it. Yeah. David Eads points out, though, Ed, that's because none of you guys have been to Easter.
That's a fair point.
Very true.
It's a fair point, and I was going to say there are like hundreds of airfields all over the country and strips that I haven't been to yet, and some of them I am sure are stunning. And Easter is definitely on my list of places that I really, 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 really have to go to. David, I will see you there.
We probably should run a forum thread on places other people nominate that you should. It's like, name your favorite, and that gives you a list then, because quite often pilots are rubbish at going, where shall I go today? So maybe we should have a list that inspires people to go places.
I can't see the comments from here, but anyone in the comments, if you got your favorites, stick your comments in the favorites. I think what I've kind of got a north and south favorite at the moment. My current southern favorite is down at Salcombe, which is just a beautiful strip with a great approach, very friendly people, lovely place. And I think up north, up the far north, although not as far north as Easter, I think Mull Glenforsa and Mull is a very special place as well.
Yeah,
but we are blessed with lots of really great airfields.
Yeah, Glenforsa's getting a few mentions. Tony Bishop says Weybourne in North Norfolk, fantastic walk to Sheringham for crab salad. What else was there? Nick Overend says, I really like Leon Solent. Nice and easy, lovely approach. That's true, actually. That is a lovely place and very easy access to the beach.
Yeah.
Ron Perry says, Lundy Island. Fly-ins coming up.
Yeah, no, Lund is great. It's not necessarily for the faint-hearted.
No, yeah.
But it is a great place.
Yes.
Okay.
Robert Wilk says Gamston has a great cafe there.
So I don't know what it's like now because I haven't been for a while. Yeah, culpa. But the Gamston place used to have to book so far in advance to get a table because it was so good that all the locals were eating there and stuff like that. Really top place. Yeah, I do, but I think there's a forum thread going on at the moment that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Lid has just the cafe has just reopened at Lid.
I think that's true. Yes, yeah.
There was even someone on the forum. I can't remember who it was. He was talking about flying to Lid for Sunday brunch or something, and telling all his friends in Germany that he was just popped to England for lunch, which is kind of interesting. But frankly, whoever it is, I can't remember. I'm not sure I can be friends with them because I'm not entirely sure that you'd fly over the whole of France to go and have lunch at Lid. But there you go. Denham is ace. Fishburne. All these places. Well, I've been to Denham. I haven't been to Fishburne.
Very good. Excellent. Keep the comments coming on those. It's always
the
good for people
comments
to read
coming.
out.
Yeah.
What's next?
Johnny's going to talk to us about a big fat rat.
Yeah, there's a rat in the airspace. The British Air Racing Championship, they are now going to have temporary restricted airspace at all their events starting at Haverfordwest this weekend. Previous seasons have never had this. The organisers have said that basically for all of their races now it's been deemed necessary because of some complex legislative issues and also for safety reasons, which is it's a shame for people, but if it makes the airspace safer, we don't know. Can we argue against that?
I don't know. Do you have to fly around the course wearing a day-glow jacket?
Yeah, paint your aeroplane bright orange.
How many air-to-airs have there been between non-participating people during air races? None. I can remember.
No.
I don't
These
know.
are up to 2,000 feet within the published area, so it's not going any more vertical than that.
I wonder how many air racers fly at 2,000 feet.
Yeah, there's a technique to flying air racing.
I know, yeah.
I've done one with a chap called John Kelshaw. We did the Isle of Wight one at Sandown, and the technique is to dive down between the points to build up speed for the turn. So you may be flying at, say, 1,500, 2,000 feet, but then when you hit the turn, you dive to 800 feet to pick up speed so you don't lose it in the turn.
Anyway, I'm not sure you need a TDA for that.
No.
Yeah, maybe we should get in touch with the Race and what are they called, the Race and Rally Association or something.
3 R's. Yeah,
I did get in touch with them. This is what they said. It's in the story.
Okay, sorry, I should have read that. My bad. In that case, Dave, the next story is for you.
Okay. Bonsoir. Bonsoir. Vous êtes le bienvenu pour vous envoler pour la France maintenant. Mais ne portez pas de Delta COVID. So this is the story that you love my French. News is that pilots of permit aircraft, home builds and certain historic aircraft can now fly to France if they hold an UK license such as a LAPL or an MPPL or of course a PPL, and they can do it if they hold a PMD or a Class 2. This concession, if you like, has been negotiated between the LAA, the CAA and the French authority, the DGAC. However, pilots of Part 21 aircraft, what we now know as certificated aircraft, they have to hold a full PPL with a Class 2 medical. In other words, be ICAO compliant. So there's a bit of a gap there, but at least we can now go to France. Some of us can anyway.
Well,
yeah.
In the words of the Eurovision Song Contest, France, 12 points.
So we do apologise for murdering the French language today. I'm not entirely sure it was negotiated between the LAA and the DGAC and the CA. I think the DGAC just rewrote their own. So kind of, if your license is good in England or whichever state, it's probably good for us. And as you're not in the EU anymore, we'll go and add you in specially and did it. But But there's no reason why other people shouldn't take the credit for that. I suspect it's all good news at the end, isn't it?
It is good news, yeah. The DGAC, I'm having, you'd never believe I lived in France for 5 years, but I did. But the DGAC, they have a very practical attitude to pretty much everything. You know, they're pretty cool people.
Yeah, and there was a good little thing that I think Ed just put up there. There you go. The real credit goes to Peter Walker, a forum member who sort of spent ages delving down and talking to people in the background. It's kind of interesting because he kind of published, or he didn't publish, he put links to the French legislation on there. And there were still people, understandably, going, but I want this officially confirmed. And you go, this is officially confirmed. The DGAC have confirmed it in front. I want to hear it from the LAA. But LAA and CA have got no jurisdiction over this. Here's the legislation. You can do this. It says you can do it. Go and fill your boots. So anyway, well done, Peter Walker. Thank you very much. Well done.
Yes,
in fact, well done, everyone. Let's just say even well done to Dave and his French. It was like astounding. I did know that you lived in France, so I couldn't tell that you weren't French, to be honest. There, I was going to make sure you'd actually applied to the UK for your leave to remain, which needs to be done by the 30th.
My French friends used to say I spoke French with a London accent, which I don't think is possible, really. Anyway, move on. Next item.
Anyway, time to move on.
That's me.
Johnny.
Yeah, so there's a new scholarship in town, a full PPL scholarship with quite an interesting history. It's called the Molly Rose Pilot Scholarship in memory of one of the women pilots from the ATA, the Air Transport Auxiliary, who used to deliver aircraft during the Second World War. There's a new story, a book and a film coming out about Molly's life called Atta Girls. And the scholarship itself is funded by Marshall of Cambridge. And Marshall was actually Molly's maiden name. And she was the daughter of Sir David Marshall, who founded the company back in early 1900s, before 1910. And she was the sister of Arthur Marshall, who actually set up Cambridge Airport. So, there's a new scholarship in town. You can go to the Fly website, read the news story, find out how to apply, and, go for it.
Absolutely. And wasn't there another one?
There was another scholarship as well, wasn't there, Johnny?
Was there?
This was the Airability one. Airability have started. Airability have reopened applications for their flying scholarship, and this is a chap called Clive Jones who won one of these scholarships from Airability. He had a motorcycle accident, as many of us do, at the age of 17, and he had to give up his ideas of a career in the RAF, but managed to go flying, and he's hoping to get his PPL this year. So Airability, for disabled pilots.
Johnny, you sounded just like you sounded just like Dave then. It was uncanny. It was uncanny. So next up is me, and this is about, it's kind of slightly unusual. It's not really a news story as such, although the accident report into incident, not quite sure. It was an incident because there wasn't an accident, into an S92A G Lugs. This airplane was published by the AAB last 7 days ago as a special bulletin. It's one of those accident reports that when I read through it, I wasn't quite trembling when I was reading through it, but I was in the cab thinking, wow, that was. And anyway, I've put it on here for a couple of reasons. One, because it links to the next story, which is one of the recommendations from the AIB, is that helicopter operators and the CA develop some kind of pins. Basically, this airplane picked up some VIPs from Birmingham, went to a private site, and the weather at a private site was pants. And on the first approach, I think the helicopter kind of lost situational awareness and came within 28 feet of a house or something. And there was a whole read the report. It's in terms of learning stuff from aviation, in terms of learning about bad weather flying, in terms of learning about the pressure when you have someone involved who's kind of involved commercially as well. I'm not passing any criticism or blame or anything here, but just read the report because there are a huge number of learning points in that report. One of the things that AIB made 8 recommendations. One of them was that helicopter crews, might want to develop, CA might want to help them develop PINS approaches, points in space, if you like, approaches. And obviously PINS approaches, you really need a great signal. And one of those signals that we got is EGNOS. However, which brings me to the next story. if anyone out here has got an IR, can I suggest that tonight after the show or tomorrow you go and fly an LPV approach? Because one day you'll be able to sit down with your grandchildren and go, yes, I once upon a time flew an LPV approach in the UK before the UK chucked away the the EGNOS signal. We all dug out our ADF boxes and flew stopwatches and got those CRP5s out of museums and we even got those funny radio ranges, where it makes different. I mean, so yeah, this Friday, 25th, that's the last day. EGNOS after tomorrow. Bye, see ya. So you won't be able to fly an EGNOS approach in the UK after tomorrow. So better go and do it now if you want it, and you want to tell your grandchildren you did it. So there you go. That's that story. But on a, I was going to say on a serious note, but that's a very serious thing as well, given the amount of money that's been invested over the years. Go and read the report into the S92. Even if you don't fly helicopters, it applies equally. There's a huge amount of lessons that apply equally to all forms of aviation. It really is I found it mildly terrifying, should we say, and I'm very, very glad I wasn't in there, and just kind of thinking of the interaction between the crew and how that works. Amazing. Go and have a read. Great learning points available there. So instead of me droning on, it must be time for Dave to drone on. Did you like that?
Very good, very good. This next story is about a drone temporary danger area, TDA. It's been applied for across Morecambe Bay. Morecambe Bay is half of the day is sea, half of the day is just quicksand. Anyway, they want to fly these drones between 3 hospitals across Morecambe Bay, delivering samples and things. It's another case of helping the NHS, apparently. But they are only going to fly up to 400 feet. So it doesn't sound too bad unless you want to go flying at 0 feet across Morecambe Bay. Well, you fly drones, Ed. That doesn't sound too hard, does it?
I wasn't. Yes, if ever there was an unexpected question, that would be it. Yes.
Right. Okay. So anyway, the consultation is now active. Yeah. You can pick up a link if you happen to have something to say about it. The consultation, there's a link on the Flyer website to it. It doesn't look too bad in the face of it, but has anyone in the comments had to say anything? So Andy Archer has said that the ground rises to 450 feet along the route, so it could be up to as high as 850 feet at some points.
And the RAF descending. Yeah. It's maybe it exists, and maybe I just don't know about it. But it would be really good to get to the point where we understand when we can stop having TDAs, and particularly stop having what appear in some places to be permanent TDAs, so PDAs, I guess, and kind of move towards the integration of general aviation and drones and whatever they call that, detect and avoid, sense and avoid, whatever it's called. We need and maybe there is a roadmap, and I'm not just aware of it, but we could do with the roadmap being more known about, and our progress along it being more known about as well. Anyway, talking of progress and talking about an example of I've been talking to the Department for Transport. So you'll remember this story where a little while ago, the Civil Aviation Authority published some stuff saying, by the way, if effectively, I won't read the whole thing, but it's like, if you got an FAA license or an FAA certificate, as to be correct, you now, and you live in the UK, you need to get yourself a CA Part FCL license, and you need to do that by December. This was all based around the Bilateral Aviation Safety Agreement and the licensing annex, which was negotiated between the US and the EU. Now we're no longer part of the EU, that doesn't apply, but even if it did apply, it wouldn't apply till after June. So anyway, the CA decided that they were going to make life difficult for British pilots, and they were going to make, if you were flying on an NREG aircraft on a FAA certificate, then you'd be able to fly that anywhere in the world apart from the country you live in. And so you need to go out and pay a whole load of money just to be able to do exactly what you can do right now perfectly safely. So, I guess regulators are doing this because they're a little bit embarrassed at how rubbish they are at regulating, how rubbish their whole flight crew licensing thing, how rubbish all sorts of things are. And given that people go there and they call it this so-called flag of convenience, when actually what people are really doing is they're trying to avoid the worst parts of the flag of inconvenience, which is the one that's often dealt with by our own regulators. So anyway, I just wondered, what was the motivation for doing this? I mean, given that our Secretary of State, Grant Shapps, flies an NREG aircraft himself, why are they doing this? So I wrote to Grant Shapps, Secretary of State, and said, what's the reasoning? Is it like a safety thing? Is it something else? What's the logic behind this? So I got a letter back yesterday from Department of Transport. There you go, very nice letter. I'll put that up on the forum a bit later. A couple of things in this letter. You probably won't be able to read that on screen, so I'll bring up this little thing here. The interesting thing, the Department of Transport tell me it's the Civil Aviation Authority that made the decision. That's kind of interesting. They also told me, and going back to this letter here, I would like to reassure you that both the CAA and government are actively engaging with the aviation community to ensure that licensing is effective. Wow. I don't feel that I've been engaged with. I'm not entirely sure. I'll be talking to the LAA, I'll talk to the BMA, I'll talk to AAPA, I'll talk to PPLIR, see if they felt they've been engaged with by the DFT. I don't know if anyone out there feels they've been engaged with by the DFT, but this engagement seems to have not taken place, as far as I can tell. Anyway, but we'll check out and report back on that. Plus, of course, I didn't realise it was a CA, and I have to say, I'm a little bit skeptical of that. This is a fairly major thing, and it involves a regulatory change, and I'm just not sure I think that might have been a DFT thing, but clearly it isn't, because the DFT have said that it was the CA who decided. So we've asked the CA, well, why did you decide that? What was the statistics? Why are you doing it? And as yet, we haven't heard back, but when we do, we'll let you know. So there you go. That was my story. So it's just, there's something a bit weird going on there, and I have to say, you remember my Freedom of Information request, which I'm still working through and hope to report on that in the next couple of weeks. And some of the stuff in there kind of shows the interaction between the Department for Transport and the CA. And is it clear to me? It seems highly likely and clear to me that Grant Shapps has a relatively long screwdriver that he applies occasionally with CA stuff. So I'm kind of surprised that this one has happened. And I'd really like to understand why. So there you go. Right, another change for tonight. Before I start wibbling on, rather than have an interview tonight and a Right Stuff quiz, Johnny spoke to Travis Ludlow earlier in Texas. I think he was in Texas, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Told us about how his round the world trip has been going. So I hope you enjoy Johnny's chat with Travis.
Travis, thank you for joining us. How was room service?
It was good. I decided to leave. Hence, I took 20 minutes. I left the airport, and I'm actually at the shop where I'm getting the 100-hour check done. So I'm in the office. Right. There. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's good to talk to you. How are you feeling? Yeah. How's it all going?
It's going great. Yeah. It's all going to plan really. I'm actually ahead of schedule. And I'm loving it so far. Yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
Great. And tell the aircraft, how's it been performing?
It's been performing perfectly. Actually, as I was as I pulled up here and to do the 100-hour check, when he took the cowling off, he looked at me. He's like, man, this does not look like you've flown halfway around the world in this thing. So. Yeah, that engine looks like immaculate, like no leaks, no oil anywhere. So yeah, that was really good. So and he's just finished 100-hour check now. There's no issues at all. So yeah, it's going great.
Brilliant. And so how was the trip across Russia? Because from us watching, it put into perspective just how damn big Russia is.
Yes. Yeah, it was long. It was a huge country, but. Really fun. I loved meeting all the people, and all everyone was so nice there. It's we think of Russia as being it's a big scary place, but no, there's really nice people there. And the flying wasn't too difficult either. The hardest part was they work in meters instead of feet. But other than that, it was easy. Yeah.
Great. And were there any kind of difficult situations across Russia, or in terms of weather or the language barrier?
there were a few times, well, with weather and language barrier. I had one time. There's there's two types of airways you have over there. So you've got a type. You got just normal airways. Then you've got, they're called whiskey airways, and whiskey airways can only Russian registered aircraft will fly over these airways. And so a lot of the time I had to take these much longer routes because I couldn't fly over. I couldn't fly these Russian airways. So it was that was difficult. So there was one point where I had a really strong headwind. And if I could fly on this airway, on the Russian airway, whiskey airway, I could have gone pretty much directly to my destination. But because of all these rules, I had to make a really big loop around, which essentially meant because of the headwind, I barely made it. Pretty much, I probably had I had. Probably about an hour's fuel left in the tank as a reserve, but the nearest diversion point was probably about a 3-hour flight away. So that was a bit daunting, yeah. So and when I arrived, it was the weather was low clouds, so you had to do ILS approach to minimum. So it was scary. I was like, oh come on, please get out the clouds. It's like, oh yes, I see the runway. Yeah. so yeah, that was good.
Brilliant. Yeah. What was that first big water crossing like as well?
Yeah, so the first big water crossing that was from the airport that I did the that low approach into. So that was called Nikolaevsk is the name of the airport. So Nikolaevsk to Magadan, and that was just over Siberian Strait water, and I was. So again, headwinds was really strong. So I climbed at the cruise altitude, and the headwind was stronger than forecasted. So I eventually got down to only 2,000 feet above the water I was at. And so I cruised for most of that flight 2,000 feet above water, and to get out of the headwinds. And there was icebergs below me, and there's just it's quite scary, but it was actually a great flight. I like looking over the water really low and looking at the icebergs and stuff. So that was a great experience. Yeah.
Brilliant. And then you crossed into the US, and how's that been? Because we look at it as being the place to fly GA. How's it felt? It definitely is the place to fly GA. It's so easy. All the systems they have, no PPR, no landing fees. You just take off and fly to these places. And a lot of times, halfway through the flight, I just tell air traffic control, you know what, I want to land over here instead. And you can do that. You don't need PPR and no landing fees. So it's super easy. And all of these airports, even tiny villages have their own huge airport with a giant tarmac runway and a full instrument landing system and or an RNAV approach and full runway lighting. So it's crazy because it's all state owned. So it's very good. I wish we had the same system in the UK, really. Yeah. So just remind me where you are now and where you're flying to next.
So I'm in Fort Worth, Texas right now, and tomorrow morning I'm heading off to Minneapolis. So it's gonna be a good day. Looking forward to it.
And then where does the route take you from there?
So from Minneapolis, because I'm essentially zigzagging up and down across the states. So from Texas to Minneapolis, then I go down south to Louisiana, and then from Louisiana I continue Florida, then up the East Coast, then Greenland, Iceland, then actually going to go to Ireland, then Spain, Portugal, and then Morocco. And from Morocco, I go to Gibraltar, then from Gibraltar to the Netherlands, which is my final stop. Yeah,
oh, brilliant.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you're still on track to get back in time, you say?
I am. Yeah, I'm ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
So I was planning to. Sorry. Someone who's trying to call me. My dad is trying to call me. Sorry. Sorry. Where's the? That's in the same position. Yeah. So I was. I was planning to fly about. I'm actually ahead of schedule. I was planning to fly about about 4 to 5 hours a day. But instead, I'm actually flying now. 4 hours is too easy, so I'm actually flying 8 hours a day now. Hence why I'm ahead of schedule. So because 4 hours, I can wake up late in the morning and land early in the afternoon, and I still got plenty of the day that I've just I'm wasting. So yeah, hence why 8 hours a day, and I find that's the perfect number for me. So yeah, it's going very well. Yeah.
Brilliant. And what's the one piece of like kit that you've had with you that's been like indispensable?
Probably either my iPad with ForeFlight on. I'm always looking at the weather on there and planning the flights. I mean, I was planning the flights, even from Ireland to Portugal and stuff like that. Looking at the flight plans there. That's probably ForeFlight on my iPad has probably been the most important bit of equipment. As well as also my satellite phones, Iridium satellite phones. A lot of these places I've been to haven't had data, and so in order to communicate to my parents and the flight service stations and stuff like that, I had to use a satellite phone to give them a call. So yeah, it's a huge help using the Iridium satellite phones. Those are probably the two biggest bits of equipment. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much for talking to us, and
thank you so much.
Yeah, well, wish you all the best for the rest of the journey, and we'll catch up
Yes.
again when you get back, probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Okay.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, Travis.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
I have to say, when we interviewed Travis at the beginning before he actually sort of set off, I was I thought he came across as a very young chap, and I think listening to him there, he's grown quite. He appears, at least on screen, to have grown quite a lot. Maybe he was already grown before and we didn't see it, but I think hats off to him. So got there.
He's
Good on him.
doing well, and I think there's a good chance he could do it, couldn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done, Travis. So let's follow. You can follow Travis on his website, and you can click track me and see him zigzagging his way around the States and Louisiana and up the East Coast and all the rest of it. We went up. Do you remember, Dave? We flew up the East Coast many, many years ago.
Yes. We can't talk about one part of it, but because I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, we can't talk
What
about
happens
that.
in Atlantic City stays in Atlantic City, okay?
You can tell me afterwards then.
Maybe. Right, what's time now then? It's got to be
time for
Fantasy Hangar.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
So this week we had racing on our mind. Obviously, there was that news story about the creation of a RAT for the British air racing. But we were thinking about air racing, but not just any old air racers. We thought, what if we were putting something in our fancy hangar? What racer from the unlimited air racing category at Reno would we want in our fantasy hangar? You know the ones, the super high octane, high horsepower, drag reduced machines that race at speeds beyond 400 miles an hour. So who's first on this one? Johnny is first.
Yeah, I've gone for Rare Bear, which is an absolute beast. That's if I was building, that's what I'd end up with.
I believe it's Mr. Seeger may have modified the photos there.
Sorry, Johnny, was it that one?
It was that one, funnily enough.
Nah, that's more like it.
Oh yeah, it's a Grumman F8F Bearcat, and it basically just dominated Reno for quite a long time. It first flew in 1969. It had the old engine swapped out. It's got a Wright R3350 from a Sky Raider in there, and it set loads of performance records. A set a 3-kilometer world speed record at 528 miles an hour. It's an absolute beast. They fiddled around with this over the years. They had a 3-blade prop on it, which they found didn't quite work so well, so they put a 4-blade back on. But I think it looks great. It probably sounds great. It definitely ticks the box of winning races and taking records. So yeah, that's my choice.
And very flamboyant paint scheme.
Yes,
very flamboyant paint scheme. Dave, how about you?
Right. Well, I've gone for something called Sawbones, which is a Hawker Sea Fury. And as Darren Lewington says in the comments, accept no substitute. And this one actually looks like it's supposed to look. It's a proper aircraft. It hasn't got one of these Americanized paint schemes. So this is actually
a Canadian one.
It's got a Canadian one. Although this was originally brought over from Iraq, believe it or not, in the 1980s. And the fuselage, in quotes, was used, quotes, but the wings and the tail section were new, apparently. Anyway, it's been re-engined. As Johnny suggested, the original Bristol Centaurus engine has been replaced with a Wright Cyclone R. There's a bunch of numbers, basically a Sky Raider engine. Ed's going kill at this point. And it's got a whole new fuel system. There's a whole bunch of things. And it's one of the racing aircraft that's confirmed already for this year's Reno Air Races, which apparently are going to go ahead. As for speeds, it's done about 435 miles an hour so far. I'm sure there's more to come.
That's not bad for something that is in stock condition.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the fact it's in stock condition and looks.
I'm not entirely sure it's in completely stock condition.
No, the engine, but no little canopy for Dave, or no crazy colour paint scheme.
No,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I was going to go next, but I didn't change the order from last week. I do apologise. So Ed, it's for you. You're going next.
It's me next, is it? So for me, I do love the big high horsepower, the big high horsepower racers that are modified from stuff. However, I picked something that when I was growing up, I remember seeing, and this just was completely. This was Reno, but completely bonkers. And some of you may recognise it, but it's the pond racer, well, the scale composites pond racer, and it really was a bit of an oddity, but it was an interesting story in that it was created by a warbird collector, a guy called Bob Pond. He wasn't happy with the loss of historic aircraft and engines being used for Reno, so he decided that he would commission an aircraft that would be totally dominant, and that other people would have to do the same thing to follow him. So in 1988, he called Burt Rutan and got this 20-foot long, 25-foot span. The aircraft flew in 1991. So those fuselage pods with the engines, they're only 2 foot in diameter. And the engines are electromotive 3-litre V6s intended to produce 1,000 horsepower each. Initially, they ran closer to 600 horsepower. They were such close tolerance engines that they had to be preheated to operating temperature before you started them. The engines burned methanol, which ran cooler than petrol, so engine cooling wasn't a problem in flight. But the turbos got to 1,500 degrees Fahrenheit. So after shutdown, it had to be cooled with air-conditioned blowers. Otherwise, the residual temperature would melt the cowlings, and the cowlings were structural elements of the aeroplane. It was described as Rutan's best flying aeroplane straight out of the box, but it suffered from the old designer's adage of new engine or new airframe, never both at the same time. And the engines were super highly strung. On its debut in 1991, it threw a rod and there was a fire, and luckily the aeroplane had a built-in fire suppression system. They put that out. It had the gearboxes, which are normally problems on things like that, were absolutely perfect. And apparently the thing sounded like a turbine and ran super smooth. But getting endurance was tough. The engine struggled with low oil volume. Amazingly, it only ran 4 quarts of oil in each engine. I know. And there were lots and lots of failure. In 92, running at half its planned power, it clocked 365 miles an hour. But retired with problems. And at Reno in 93, the pilot, Rick Rickard, had been told he could run at 60% power, but while qualifying, an engine seized and the aeroplane and he were lost. So a sad end to that. But the pond race has been described as probably one of the world's most sophisticated experimental aircraft. Development budget was rumored to be $6 million.
When you look at it, I mean... Is that not where Rutan got the idea for Spaceship One from?
You do wonder. You do wonder. Yeah.
Yes.
So
I think Andy Archer summed it up very well. Is that not the beady aircraft off eBay married with torpedoes?
It is the beady.
Yeah, Sam Edwards said the CFG was outside the airframe. You might be right there, Sam. Yeah, and Mike says it sounds more like a Formula One car. I don't think there's been a it was a real amazing piece of packaging. Kia Williams says, knowing my operating base, sounds perfect for Wadswick Head. I forgot to make a note of it, but I think the landing speed of it, I think it landed about 130 knots.
Crikey.
So, yeah.
It's not even about a wing, is it? If you look at the wing, it's like tiny. What?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, but utterly bonkers. But the rumor was that if they got close to sorting the engines, and they were 93 if they hadn't had the failure, they had a plan to put more oil in it and get over the packaging problems. That they thought 94 might be the year that it really becomes a machine, but it never saw that. So, but yeah.
So Ed, why is this your fantasy?
Because I always think that fancy hangar is, you have aeroplanes in your fancy hangar that A, you love, and B, people walk in through the door and they stop. If you're talking to them, they kind of look around and they stop talking because they see something amazing. And I think if you had the pond racer sat there, people would go, oh.
Okay.
People stop talking when they walk into the hangar and see me, but I think that's just because I'm boring.
They turn around and walk back out.
they go, oh, it's a Cessna 182.
Yeah. Ben Fly said, and C will kill you.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
So Ian, what have you chosen?
Well, look at your ridiculously puny radial engines that you had in yours. They were ridiculous. A Super Corsair, this is what you need. Goodyear Airplane Company built 10 of these. It's got a 28-cylinder, 4-row Pratt & Whitney 4360 delivering 3,000 horsepower. I mean, that's got to be seriously funky stuff, hasn't it? I don't think it was. I think it did a decent speed, but just imagine that engine. I mean, just that.
That's very cool, Ian. But I think you may have picked the wrong Super Corsair, because you're right. Goodyear made some Super Corsairs. 10 of them. They looked to improve the Corsair, just the regular Corsair, which is already awesome, by putting the Pratt & Whitney 4360 on it. But the one that raced at Reno was built by some guys at Chino, and it was a regular Corsair, so with the turtle deck. And they put the big engine on it. And your Super Corsair that you just showed has an extra 12 inches on the fin. And the racer Corsair that was built at Chino had just a regular short fin with low drag. And but they were racers. Your red one was raced in the Thompson Trophy races, and I think there was a couple, and they were a proper awesome aeroplane. But
I think I have a picture of the other one.
There we go. See, and this had a tiny clipped wing, and this was just the reason that the Pond Racer was created. In the 80s, someone took a regular Corsair, which of course now people would absolutely cherish, and super modified it to turn it into this. So your Super Corsair, while authentic, is you need the last photo to be your Reno racer.
I think I'll have 2 Super Corsairs, please, for mine against any of your. Although I have to say,
interestingly, there's the Super Corsair with its big 4-row radial. The Rare Bear. It says a lot for Rare Bear, because that's obviously a perfect tiny drag reduced package that the Rare Bear can beat the Super Corsair, and yet has a much tinier engine.
That's half the number of rows at least.
Yes, yeah. But I think Corsairs. Normally a Corsair, you go, how awesome. But for the days when your Corsair doesn't feel so, it just feels a bit regular, have a Super Corsair.
Yeah, and can you imagine?
Sorry.
I was going to say, can you imagine taking in?
Who's the winner in the comments?
Oh, I don't know. Jonathan Smith says Ed is superbly sad. which is entirely true, Jonathan. Dave is getting a lot of love.
Yeah, even
Darren has
Paul
knifed
Fraser
you.
Benison.
Yeah.
I think you've just picked the one single. Keir Williams says, as in Ed's encyclopedic knowledge prevails once more. Andy Archer more accurately says Ed the Geek.
Can you imagine taking one of those Super Corsairs in for a top-end overhaul?
Yeah, they'd be at it for a long time.
They would.
Sea Fury for the win. Steve Middleton. Ed's choice is bonkers. Utterly, yes. You'd need 2 Super Corsairs to catch Dave's Sea Fury.
No way, Jose. I have to say,
sadly, your Super Corsair caught fire and the guy jumped out, so it's no longer very super.
I don't think it's unique in that it's caught fire. I think that's not a.
No, I think in the world of unlimited air racing, things catching fire and things breaking is relatively common.
Absolutely, so, I have to say, after listening to all of these, even though I chose the Super Corsair, which is a fantastic airplane, I would probably, in my fantasy hangar, I'd probably go and nick the Pond Racer out of Ed's fantasy hangar and push it into my hangar. I think that's a
if you
pinnacle of bonkers design.
Yeah, if you ever watch the Mike Patey videos, he's got a racing car that he raced, which was an electric racing car. But he's just decided he's mounted that on the hangar wall. You know, it's one thing that he's done, and I think it might be the safest thing if you had a Pond Racer, you just go, I'm just going to stick that there. Yeah. You know, so I'm not tempted to push it out the door and try and fly it.
No.
Just remove the engines completely.
Aircraft are for flying, machines are for using.
That's probably true. Yeah. Therefore, your Sea Fury is probably the most practical, unlimited air racer you could have in the hangar. Poor old Johnny sat there under his tiny canopy like this.
It's 2031. We need to move on.
What? Okay, let's hurry up. Here you go. Quick stinger. Give us some rapid events, Dave.
So rapid events. So last week I made a right cods up of events, and so I'm going to put it right this week. Lamb Home, pronounced home, Lamb Home. The flying is on Orkney this weekend, which is nothing to do and not the home of the Up Heli R Viking Festival. I had a quick Facebook chat with David Eade from Easter Airfield, and he put me right. So Lamb Home is on Orkney. If you want to go to the Viking Festival, that's in Lerwick, capital of the Shetland Islands, on the last Tuesday of January. Interestingly, well, perhaps not, there is a fake Viking Festival in Basingstoke in July, should you want to go there instead.
Fake Vikings in Basingstoke, are they the Vikings?
What else is there?
Dave's
also, this weekend, there's a British Air Racing Championship at Haverfordwest. Remember the rat? There's a vintage aircraft flying at Brayton. Coming up is the SSDR Freedom Rally at Enstone on the 9th to the 11th of July. If you want to go, you have to register by the 27th of June. It's because the organisers need to put in place COVID protocols. Not coming up, however, is the LAA Wessex Strut flying at Henstridge on the 4th of July. That's been cancelled for reasons we've already mentioned. So I think it's... also coming up, I have to mention, on the 24th of July is the American Classics flying at Goodwood. So that's enough from me. Over to you, Johnny.
Yeah, hang on a second, Johnny. I just need to do something. Oops, and I realised that didn't give me the ability to do what I wanted to do. There you go. Off you go, Johnny.
Thank you. Right, so Fly Club fly-in at Slape on the 3rd of July. We've got a nice big list of everybody now. And we will confirm everything, confirm your PPR as soon as I've spoken to Bruce tomorrow, just to find out what information he wants me to tell you. So that will be coming out ASAP. And we've also got James Ketchell booked in for the Monday, the 5th of July. He was put ill this week, so couldn't make it. So we're looking forward to hearing from him. And we'll also be doing an interview with Patty Wagstaff, the legendary, US female aerobatic champion. We'd love to get your questions to her. So she's very busy with her schedule. It looks like it will likely be a late night pre-recorded interview because that's the only way we can make it work. But we'll email you beforehand. So start thinking about things that you want to ask her. And club members, you'll get access to that video as soon as it's done. And of course, if you aren't a club member, you can head to fly.co.uk and click the club tab at the top of the page and join for just £7.50 per quarter for now.
For now, absolutely. Great. I think we should move on to QSY. What have we got? We got a bit of video. Anyone seen this?
That is just like, and I hate spiders, and that is, I would choose jumping out the door, I think. Ah!
Have you looked?
Oh, you get.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think in that video they didn't have their rows and visors tightened high enough and probably flared a little bit high. So what else have we got in QSY? Dave, I think you know something about this thing when I find it. I've lost it. I haven't got it. Oh, we'll bring you that next week. Apologies. I forgot to upload that picture. Okay. I do apologise. You have to... Sorry about that. You'll have to have this one instead. Anyway, right. So I think that's about it. We've run over by 6 minutes. Thank you very, very much for joining us. We will see you next week. I would like to thank 4Flight and remind you to go check out their Sentry, www.flywithsentry.com/flyer. It's a dual band ADSB with carbon monoxide detector and AHRS. Thank you again. Hope you have a great weekend. If anyone's got some great weather for Sunday, let me know. And I look forward to catching up with you all next Thursday. Thank you very much, everybody.
See you all. Fly safe.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.